Welcome to the Grounded Woo Woo. Hey, it's Michelle Victoria. Welcome back. This is my third episode. I hope you've had time to explore my first two. On the last episode, I talked about the holidays, how you may be grieving around the holidays due to a loss of a loved one, whether it's recent or in the past that's affected you, or trauma around the holidays that you've carried with you, and maybe still dealing with family dynamics that create trauma around the holidays. So you can go to my Instagram page, Grounded Woo Woo, and there's a post referencing that episode. Leave comments, DM me if you'd like me to answer any questions. So this week I wanted to talk about the body and how it sends you messages. And I'm going to try to keep this as short and concise as possible. But this is a tough one. This is a catalyst for what I'm doing now with my life. This particular episode. In 2019, March, I woke up in the middle of the night and thought I was having a heart attack. Drove myself to the ER. And fast forward that night and weeks later, CAT scans, MRIs, heart monitor tests, blood work up the wazoo, carotid artery tests, all kinds of tests, nothing wrong. Now, I had a good Western medicine doctor that was open to holistic treatments, and she said, Michelle, I think you've had a nervous breakdown. I think you are dealing with panic disorder, even though you're not afraid of anything, you're not triggered by anything in particular. I know you, but I'm going to offer it just the same. I can prescribe you an antidepressant. No. I was feeling so bad physically, I just can't relate it enough. I don't know how, to this day, that I got out of bed every day and went to work. I just don't. I was in severe pain. My legs were giving out. My legs were going numb. My arms were going numb. I was losing vision completely in one eye, out of the blue. Chest pains nonstop. And the other weird thing was I felt like often I was just rip-roaring drunk, swooshing around in my brain. Things were moving. I was like on a tipping ship all the time. It was hell, absolute hell. And I was alone and dealing with a lot of parental drama and duty, and coming off of a divorce and digging myself out of debt, a high-pressure job that I was working 7 days a week, and so many other stressors. My body broke. It broke. So, long story short, I gave my notice at the job I was at, a very lengthy notice, many months, because I was commission-based and I needed some deals to close. And as I said, I don't know how I got out of bed each day. I just don't. But I did. The only thing any test showed, two things. One was found out later that they didn't tell me, but I went to an ophthalmologist later because I was like, what is going on with this vision? Me going blind in a millisecond. Lasted for 10, 20 seconds all in, but it was complete blindness in one eye. She said, you're having ocular migraines. I see you had migraines as a child. I can see it in your brain scan. And I did. I had debilitating migraines as a child that I grew out of. And the other thing that showed up physically was PACs and PVCs on my heart monitor test. My heart was going crazy. It was, although they said no, not dangerous levels, if I'm affected by it, I could go on medication. Again, I refuse medication. So at that time, I was working with a personal trainer, and I had to give that up because I couldn't handle high sensory things, anything. I gave up television for 2 years. Anything loud and jarring startled me, like I had been snuck up on and somebody jumped me. You know, that sensation when somebody scares you. I was going through those nonstop sensations over and over and over again, all day, every day, for almost 2 years. Now they subsided. They were every 15, 20, 30 minutes the first year. That sensation that I had been snuck up on and scared, that rush of energy that flows up when you're like, somebody startles you. And the heart palpitations, I could hear my heart beating all the time, and it was fast. It was weird, and it wouldn't stop. And feeling drunk all the time, and whooshy and swooshy and wobbly, and going blind in one eye, and losing my balance, and my arms and legs going numb. So what I did was I chose different modalities, which is why I'm doing what I do today. From acupuncture to Reiki, Chinese medicine, herbal medicine, the medical medium protocols, food protocols. I did celery juice every morning for 2 years. Holistic therapies, psychotherapy with brain spotting. I have a wonderful brain spotter, by the way, here in my local area. She does do online work too, so I'll link that in my Instagram post. Did I say acupuncture? I gave up the high intensity workouts and did restorative yoga and walking. I always was walking anyway, but I couldn't do the kind of training where somebody was yelling at me and go, go, go. Now I'm back to high intensity training without the trainer, this stage of my life. This is 2019. I hope I said that. Anyway, so I chose all holistic methodologies of healing, and to this day I can't tell you which one helped. I still live that same lifestyle. I'm not juicing celery every day, but I live clean food lifestyle. I moved from one state to another state to be by the water, gave up that job that was just sucking the life out of me, and took a year off, lived off savings, and back to, is your body sending you any type of messages? Mine was in 2017, this started. I did go to the emergency room for similar symptoms, and the doctor told me it was panic attack, and I wasn't having trouble breathing, and I always thought that was what panic attacks were. And I always thought it only came for people that were afraid of something. But I think subconsciously I was afraid of a lot of things, even though I wasn't afraid, I'm not afraid to drive or go to the store or talk to people or any of that. Subconsciously I had a lot of fears, I think, about all the life changes I was going through. So I went to so many different holistic approach therapists, doctors, Reiki healers, you name it, I did it. So I'm a huge proponent of holistic medicine, also Western medicine. I mean, there's a place for Western medicine. I'm never doubting its place. If you get into a car accident and you're severely injured, thank God for Western medicine, right? But I think we do need to get back to the soul and what the soul needs, and plant medicine and things like that before we had the modern medicine. I think there's a place for all these things. And this is also when I discovered astrology. Well, I was already listening to some astrologers, but mostly back then, 15, 16, and before that, I was, a Hay House radio junkie. Always searching for meaning in my life. Studied Buddhism and was a huge believer in just exploring other religions and philosophies. I love philosophy. Eckhart Tolle, Gary Zukav, Marianne Williamson, Alan Cohen, Louise Hay, so many. So that was already going on most of my life. I shouldn't say all my life, most of my life. So after that breakdown, well, a little bit before, I discovered astrology, and after that breakdown is when I discovered what I had been going through since 2008, and it was so validating. I am a Capricorn rising, and I had Pluto transiting my first house of the self, the body, the identity, since 2008, and it just finished. It was a 16-year-long transit, and Pluto wants to empower you in the healthiest way. He wants you to be empowered in the healthiest way, but he takes down everything that's not empowering you and shows you how. So I had a lot of, and I think Pluto will act differently for people based on what they need to heal. So I had a lot of identity issues, authority issues due to my childhood and being abused and overpowered and always being subservient to anybody with perceived dominance or power. So I was confronted with a lot of men that were just dark and ugly. And I say ugly, not physically ugly, but their behaviors, bullying, sexual abuse at workplace, just saying weird things to me at the workplace. And I had to stand up for myself. Men client that was abusive that I had to stand up to. He was bullying me. It was I had the strangest experiences with men, all part of healing with my ex-husband, standing up to him, him and dealing with the consequences of letting him make choices in my life. I was really totally reconstructing myself and how I treat myself, what I put up with, how I stand up for myself, how I take ownership. My identity was completely changing. And Pluto in the body is the first house as well. My body significantly changed. I had a lot of weird health things going on. This breakdown was one of them. So since 2008, I have dropped, let me think, 4 sizes. And without trying. And now, of course, I live a very active, well, I did back then, but I'm very active. It's very deliberate, my choices of what I do for my body, health-wise, food-wise. I lost a lot of weight quick, and I wasn't looking good. Now I feel like the life has come back into me. But Pluto tears you down. Pluto wakes you up. There is no negotiating with Pluto. So most people will not experience Pluto in their first house of their self in their lifetime. Because Pluto is a very slow-moving planet. Well, it's a dwarf planet now. You know, NASA has demoted Pluto, but in the astrology world community, Pluto's still a powerhouse. But Pluto moves very slowly. It takes 248 years, I believe. So a lot of people never experience Pluto in their body, in their house of their self, in their body, in their entire life. So I just finished up that transit, as did every other Capricorn rising that's alive today. And I have read a lot of things, and there's so many people that have gone through similar experiences, lost a lot of loved ones to death. I lost one person to death. A lot of people do experience death in that transit, but death of the self, for sure, which I did. So this episode is already going way too long. I like to keep mine short, but the question, I go back to the start of my first question is your body giving you any signals of it not being well? Any little warning, any yellow signals right now? And asking you to look deeper. Ultimately, that's what it's wanting when the body is acting out. And of course, you go through the Western medical channels to make sure there's nothing physically, generally wrong with your heart or any other major thing in your body. But if you circle back to everything looks fine, if that's your doctor's response, then you come to my world. And that's where I really can help people based off of your specific experience. There's not one modality that I would recommend. It will be about what you're going through. One size does not fit all. If that's not the biggest takeaway from my experience, I don't know what is. Modern medicine wants to put you in a box. And it's so wrong. That's what's wrong with our medical system, in my opinion. We are not one size fits all. And the pharmaceutical solution of here's Zoloft or whatever it is today for every problem in life is not the answer. Not saying there's not a place for it, but it's not the answer for a lot of things that we go through. So thanks for listening. This has gone on way too long. Go to Instagram, The Grounded Woo Woo. You can comment on the post that's correlating with this episode. And I got a call during this episode, so if it didn't come through, I said go to Grounded Woo Woo. You can comment on the post that's correlating with this episode or DM me if you want any questions answered. Thanks. See you next week.